Preparing to go live and direct. Greetings, family. Sister Shanice in the house. Welcome to another Ujamma Day Sister Shanice show. How are you, family? I hope you have risen in power. I hope you have risen in strength. I hope you have risen to accomplish much today. And I hope actually that today has already been really successful for you as a member of the family. So whether you're working for yourself, your family, whether you're working for the community, whether you're working for your nation, you know, it's all about uplifting us as a people. So as you go about your daily routine, as you go about empowering yourself, empowering your family, and empowering your community, may all contribute towards the upliftment of us as a people. So we are live. Please do spread the word. Let the family and friends know that we are live. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to be posting the link to some of the family and friends on WhatsApp so that they can join us. Mute myself, sorry, Jim. Okay, so yeah, let me know, family, if you want to join, and I will be posting the link in the chat because, you know, I want to hear from you, our wonderful audience. Can you hear me? Let me know. Actually, let me, no, I won't turn on YouTube. Let me know. Are you hearing me? Are you seeing me okay out there? Hopefully I'm talking to the world and I'm not talking to myself. I won't want to be doing that. I've got too much to share. And, you know, looking forward to us having a really interesting, interactive show today. So let's see. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, Samuel saying, yes, sis, he can hear me. So there's at least one person out there who's tuning in and they can hear me. Thank you so much, Samuel. You know, because of you, you're making today's show worthwhile. Thank you for being the first person to flag me in the chat, to message me, and to let me know that you are indeed hearing me okay. Rise up, Silverfoot's in the house as well, saying, yes, Sister Shanice, live and direct. And he's live and direct all the way in Birmingham. Oh, I know enough Rasta in Birmingham. So them don't say Birmingham, them say Birmingham strong. So rise up to everybody in Birmingham strong. Birmingham strong. Thanks for letting me know that you can hear me loud and clear. So there's been a number of news stories in the news today. There's a particular story that's grabbed you that you would like me to cover today. Then drop it in the chat and I'll put it up. And we can have a bit of a conversation about it if you like. So we are that flexible today. As I said, I've selected a number of stories, and it may well be the similar stories that have resonated with you over the last couple of days or so. And if not, and there is a particular story that you'd like us to cover, then just drop it in the chat, and we'll pull up the story and we'll have a bit of a conversation about it, okay? Rise up, Lawiki, who's in the house, said, I am hearing you in Brockley, London. Okay, yeah, that's not too far from my part of the woods. Rise up, rise up. Good to know we've got Brockley in the house, all the way from Southeast London. Rise up, rise up. How is it out there at the moment in the UKKK? And the last time I spoke to someone out there, they were telling me, say, cool it, cool it, cool. I hope the weather, you know, is not as cold as it has been, and it's actually milder now, so that you can, you know, be enjoying the weather out there. How is it? Queen Mother is in the house. Queen Mother, wonderful. Queen Mother International, great to have you in the house. And yes, 10 p.m. here in South Africa. Very late. Thank you so much for staying up, you know, and for tuning in all the way from South Africa. We love our South African family so, so much. But we think that your media is actually controlled and colonized, because some of the views and opinions that I hear coming out of South Africa, I know it can't be the views and opinions of our brothers and sisters, and that it must be the views and opinions of a hijacked media out there. You know, is that the case? Has the South African media and press been hijacked, you know, by people who don't look like us, don't like us, and want to be controlling the media? You know, I'm sure it is. So let us know what's going on, what's the views and opinions of people, you know, in South Africa. Do you love the extended African family as much as those of us outside of South Africa love the extended family? Let us know, because we have pure love for our brothers and sisters in South Africa. Sheriff S is in the house. Rise up, rise up. I love Sheriff S. She calls me Dr. Shanice. She has crowned me and given me that status, and I'm honored, beloved sis. Great to have you in the house, and blessed love. Did you hear Trump with him reckless self trying to threaten BRICS? No, I didn't. What's that story about? I'll have to pull that one up. Kwame Aboje is in the house. Rise up, brother Kwame. He's saying, Hotep, my family, Sister Shanice, Sister Amma, Sister Sheriff S. He's picking up everybody in the house and all the family. Thank you so much. And yeah, we've got another family member in the house from London. Yeah, rise up, Shakai, from London. Also, we rise up Samuel Riley, who's in Bournemouth, South Coast, on the South Coast, or is that South Costa? Well, welcome. We welcome you all the way from Bournemouth on the South Coast there. Kwame Aboje, yes, from London and Accra. And yeah, rise up, family. You're looking colorful. You're looking great. It's a privilege to be able to address you, my wonderful audience. As I said, I'm going to be posting the link in the chat at some point during the show, and I certainly hope that you will be clicking on that link and you will be joining me. But before I do that, I'm going to be talking about a few headline stories that have grabbed my attention, and I'll be sharing some views, thoughts, and opinions on those stories. And then I look forward to you, my wonderful audience, to joining me to have a bit of a conversation. So if that's you, and you know, you fancy a bit of a conversation with me today, I would be honored. Yes, indeed. So please do continue to let me know that you're in the house. As soon as the family is through the door, I will be starting the show. So I'm just going to give you a moment or two to come through the doors, and at the same time, I'm just posting the link to some family members, and so that they have got the link and can be joining us in the conversations that we're going to be having today. I've got an international family, and certainly, you know, would welcome them joining us today. So I'm going to be dealing with some breaking news stories It is Wednesday, the 4th of December. So I just took a little bit of a look to see what some of the headline stories are around the world that may be of interest to us as the African family, because there's always so much going on. But, you know, what we want to prioritize are the issues that are going to be impacting on us or have been impacting on us as an international African family. So just posting the link just to a couple more family members, and then, you know, I think we will be rocking and rolling, because we, you know, I think we would have given everyone an opportunity to come through the door. So how has the last few days been for you, or how has this strong week been? Some say weak, we say strong here. I had a really interesting show today on the Big G Galaxy Afui, the only de-brainwashing station. I'm a radio host on that platform, as most of you probably know. And we always have such wonderful and interesting conversations. And I'm going to share a little bit about the conversation that we were having today, because it's a bit of a theme that I'm going to be running with on the station up to the end of this year, because I think it's so one of the really important things that we need to be addressing as a people. And what is that? It is our mind. It's our mindset. So it's all about recapturing our mind, taking back our mind, because if we get our mind right, then everything else is secondary. If we are, you know, correcting our thinking, then we will be correct in our actions, because our thinking determines, you know, our actions, does it not? Okay, so we've got a few more members in the house. Yes, Sheriff S, great to have you in the house alongside Brother Kwame and everyone else. Yes, we've got Sakai in the house from London saying Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Oh, rise up, Sister Ujamma in the house all the way from Ghana. And she must say, so proud of you, was actually given a Ghanaian citizenship alongside so many others from Ghana. And so, you know, we are delighted, and we share in your celebrations. We share in your celebrations. I can see that I'm spinning, but I hope I'm okay where you are. Rise up, Karen. Good to have you in the house as well. Yes, rising up all the kings and the queens. So let's hope that my video link is okay. Let me know if the link is okay. We are where you are. It may be that it is just my link, and you're seeing me absolutely fine. So please let me know. Spinning a little bit here. Hope it's not interfering with the broadcast where you are. Yeah, rise up, Karen in New York. What an international family. We've got New York in the house, South Africa in the house, London in the house, Ghana in the house. We got Bournemouth, UK in the house. You know, it's wonderful, wonderful to have you all in the house. She said 524 Ghanaian citizens on the in Ghana right now. Woo, woo, woo. We've got to pull our finger out across the rest of Africa. Well done to you all. It didn't just happen overnight. It's obviously come about as a result of a lot of organizing, a lot of meetings, a lot of probably pressuring. So well done to you all for getting yourselves organized and for networking with the powers that be that has enabled this awesome event to happen. This is history in the making, and each and every one of you are obviously now part of history. Greetings, sis. Yes, rise up, rise up. Okay, so let me share with you first of all from my notes that I was taking about the conversation that we was having today on my radio show. And it's about us reclaiming our mind. Why do we need to reclaim our mind? What is the issue with regards to our mind? Well, what may come to your mind is this quote by Steve Biko, and others, you know, have made similar quotes. And it is the fact that the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. The greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And that is such a profound and important quote. The reason being is because, you know, if your oppressor controls your mind, then, you know, they don't need to worry about what you do, because your mind is going to determine your behavior, it's going to determine what you do. And if they control your mind, they control you. They control what you're going to do. And so for as long as they are able to dominate your mind, control your mind, program your mind, and influence you, then, you know, they're in a position where they can control you. And, you know, you've probably heard the sayings a lot about us needing to break the mental chains of oppression from off our mind. You've often heard me say that we may be free physically from enslavement, but what we now need to do is free ourselves mentally from enslavement, because although we no longer have the physical chains around our hands, our feet, and our neck, what we do have are the mental chains that are controlling us as a people. And we will never be completely free, and we will never be the true African with the full potential that we have as Africans. But for as long as, you know, our oppressors continue to control our mind, continue to manipulate us, continue to, you know, impose conditions on our thoughts without us even realizing it. And what am I talking about? Some of you might be saying, what sort of, you know, how are they manipulating our minds? How are they continuing to oppress us through our minds? How are they programming our minds? Well, you know, for as long as we tune into their television, as long as we're watching their adverts, as long as we're reading their magazines and their newspapers, you know, as long as we're going to their schools and being educated by them in their schooling system, you know, they are programming our minds. And this starts to happen from day one, from the earliest of age. They start programming us through their cartoons, through the children's stories, the baby stories, through, you know, the stories that they give to the mothers and the nursery rhymes that they teach the mothers to teach the children. All of this from a very young age is actually designed to manipulate and condition our mind. And that manipulation and conditioning of our mind is sending a very clear message. And the message that they are sending through all of their TV, television, the stories that they write about us, and their institutions like the religious institutions, etc., is saying to us that we are inferior and they are superior. And for as long as we believe that narrative that we are inferior and they are superior, for as long as we believe it, we will be powerless. For as long as we believe it, we will allow them to rule. For as long as we believe it, we will allow them to dominate us. For as long as we believe it, you know, we will be telling ourselves that, you know, we should be grateful that they enslaved us, or some madness like that I've actually heard said. And so, you know, very importantly, we need to do the work to begin to free ourselves of the mental chains of enslavement. And we need to rely on ourselves to do it. We cannot rely on anyone outside of ourselves to free our minds. Why would they want to free our minds? You know, if we were free and in our right minds, we would control our countries, we would control our wealth, we would control our communities, we would be building strong families, we wouldn't be dating outside of our race because we would recognize the importance of race first. You know, we would be building for tomorrow, building businesses, building cities again, building kingdoms, building empires, and we wouldn't be looking to anyone else to build those cities and empires for us, because we would be grounded in the knowledge of who we are as a people. And we would know that we have been building cities, kingdoms, and empires for thousands of years, you know, before we came under colonial rule. And therefore, if we could do it back then, and if our ancestors were able to do it back then, we can certainly do it now. And, you know, so we need to free ourselves of that colonized mind, you know, the programming that they have given to us that has led many of us into believing that we can't do, we're less than, or we're inferior. You know, so we need to get back our minds, and, you know, we need to embrace our culture again, because, you know, when we had our own culture as a people and our own way of doing things, you know, we were just so powerful. You know, there was so much that we were doing as a people, you know, to recognize, you know, the greatness of who we are as a people. So, and I had some great calls on my show as well. Let me pull out a few. Here's one from Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver actually said when he rang up my show today that we should keep a tight security on the gates of our mind, so that only positive thoughts are allowed to enter. Only allow, you know, our words of wisdom and words of truth. Only allow words of wisdom and words of truth to enter our mind. So, you know, he was very clear there in what he was saying, that, you know, we need to make sure that we are protecting our minds. And one of the ways that we can protect our mind is by ensuring that we don't allow their tell-lie vision to dictate to us and to determine, you know, our thoughts. Because without realizing, when we watch these programs, they're programming us, they're sending us subliminal messages. They're saying to us in their programs, this is how you should live. This is the sort of house that you should live in. This is what you should aspire to. This is how a family is supposed to conduct itself. This is, you know, this is the sort of stuff that they're telling us. And really, we don't want to be living like Europeans. We want to be living, you know, the great lives as in the ways that our ancestors did. And we had our brother Geb, always a great call on my show, and he was explaining, you know, about the cyclical system of interruption. And he was saying, you know, that, you know, our thought processes, our psychology has been interrupted, and it's now been put into this kind of cyclical process. And this cyclical process just keeps repeating itself. And, you know, these repeats just never stop. And it's actually intergenerational. And what it does is that it builds a systemic nature or in our mindset about, you know, who we are as a people. And we're never going to be able to heal from the conditioning of who they say we are until we get out of this cyclical repeat situation that we're in. So it's so important for us to change our mindset and to have a new mind as a people. So great conversations we were having today. He was saying that we've got to re-engineer, you know, the software, see ourselves, you know, as a computer. Our mind is a computer that's had a virus, you know, put into it. So our mind, you know, has been poisoned. You know, it's like we've got a virus, you know, that is controlling our mind and controlling our thinking. And we are being remotely controlled by our oppressors. And so what we need to do now is we need to get rid of this virus. We need to reprogram our minds. And we need some engineers to be doing the reprogramming. Okay, we need software writers who can rewrite the software, you know, and give us a new book, because the books that we've been following, the Bible, the Quran, that have been written for us, it's making us submissive. It's making us turn the other cheek. It's making us, you know, not value our gold and our silver. It's making us not even value our life here on earth, because we believe that, you know, we're not going to be here for long. There's going to be another life after this life that we don't even know whether or not it actually exists. And so, you know, this psychological brainwashing that we've experienced as a people is so deep, so deep. You know, it's like made us brain dirty. And so, yeah, it was the first in a series of conversations that I'm going to be having about our mindset and the importance of changing our mind. And also, very importantly, what came out of today's discussion for me is the fact that our mind has an eye. Our mind has an eye. Yes, our mind's eye sees images. Our mind eye is triggered by images. And so we have now got to start putting a lot of emphasis on the images that we show our children, the images that our babies see, even the images that our young people and we are looking at. And this is why, you know, they've whitewashed our history, whitewashed everything, you know, that we look at. This is why they're in all their adverts, they're putting white women with our black men and vice versa, because they're planting those images in our mind, because our mind's eye will then take those images, process it, and start replicating it in the subconscious and acting it out without realizing it. Wow, wow, wow. Brother Kwame says, speak it, Amma, speak it. The ones in Ghana are so deluded, so-called applauding white supremacy. Wow, wow, wow. Oboni, what madness. It is madness indeed, and it's an example of the conditioning. And we did talk quite a lot, actually, about the extent to which religion actually conditions our mind, our character, our behavior, and our personality as well, and how religion is actually being used as a tool and a weapon against us as a people. It keeps us submissive. It keeps us, you know, downtrodden as a people because we feel we're being virtuous, you know, to be downtrodden. And most of us don't understand the politics and the politics of religion. You know, we go into it for the spiritual essence, but we don't realize that, you know, the whole kind of concept and foundation of religion is also to do with power. Yeah. And so these people see it as a power base. And yeah, if they can have all of us worshiping an image that looks like them, then they're going to have all the power. But when we start worshiping images that look like us, then we're going to reclaim that power. Are we not, family? Yes, indeed. Okay, so that was just a bit of an insight into some of the conversation that we was having earlier today on my radio show. We had Brother Julius call in as well. Rise up, Brother Julius, if you're watching, you know, and yeah, he was just sharing with us as well about the Bible. He said that we should call it the planned book, the kill book, because it literally just kills our mind and who we are as a people. So that was quite a show. I've pulled out that clip and it's in the editing studio at the moment, and I'm going to upload it as a separate clip because, you know, the contribution that we had to the conversations was just so deep, so profound. I would love you, our wider audience, to be able to listen to it as well. Okay, let's go over to some of the news stories, shall we, that we've got in the news today. Have I got any comments to what I've been talking about so far? Yeah, if you want to comment on what I've been saying so far, please do. We've got Sister Betty in the house. Rise up, rise up. Good to have you in the house as well. Bro Kwame Aboje says, it makes a lot of sense. Our people in Ghana have our real heroes and sheroes, including Malcolm X, and Marcus Garvey, etc. Yeah, we do have our own real heroes and sheroes, absolutely. Right. Oh, Sister Amajo says, I haven't had to tell live vision for about 12 years or so. I know, but, you know, they still force themselves into our spaces. You know, you can't even watch, you know, you go into what you think might be a black world on YouTube where you're watching Black documentaries, stories about Africa. You know, you might be watching shows, you know, that have got Black hosts, etc. But then they pop up in the adverts. They pop up before the show starts. They pop up during the shows. They pop up after the shows or the documentaries that they're watching. It's like them just want to push up themselves in our business all the while. Why? You know, so anyway, I saw them stick out and most of them can't leave us alone, because if they were to leave us alone, like they did when, you know, they told us to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps and straight after out of enslavement. And we did that and created, you know, the Black Wall Street in Greenwood, you know, one of the greatest cities of its time, where us as a people were running all the businesses, were hugely successful, living large, you know, pioneers, scientists, everything. We were just doing so great. They got jealous, didn't they? And burnt the city, bombed the city to the ground and murdered, you know, thousands of our people and destroyed thousands of properties. So they know if they leave us to our own devices, we will become great again in no time at all. Yes. Rise up, J.S. Star, the Bible is written by us. Yes, and you know, it was written by us, but then back then, especially, there was what you might call a class system, where you had the kings, the queens, the nobles, the landowners, etc., you know, who were ruling over the masses, and they were using religion as a means of controlling the masses. And so, yeah, we've got ourselves to blame for the situation that we find ourselves in, because we were so divided as a people, and we left this division among us, left the door wide open for those who don't look like us, don't like us, to come in, take control, take over everything that we had started, and, you know, just scale it up to another level, to our detriment and our demise as a people. And so, you know, we need to certainly learn the lessons of the past. Sheriff has said, and you can't even skip some of the stupid adverts. Right, yeah, they make it so you can't even skip the adverts these days. That's right. Okay, so let's go over to some of the news stories for today, shall we? Some good, some bad, some ugly, you know. Let's pull up this presentation and then I can share screen and you'll be able to see my screen. Right, so yeah, there's so many stories that are impacting on us as a people right now. And the first story that I'm going to share with you, you know, just really broke my heart. And it's a story that most of you, but maybe not all of you, are actually aware of. And so I just want to bring this matter to our attention. But before I do, actually, let me, do I need the sound? I'll click it anyway. I don't think I need the sound for today. But let me just get it in there just in case I decide to use it. And let's go to that slideshow and start, move out the way, you tools, slideshow, yeah, I think slideshow. And I want present a view. There we go. Okay, I don't need to talk about who I am because you all know who I am already. And but I do want to let you know that, hang on, why is it not in? Here we go. Yeah, I do want to remind you that if you haven't already got a copy of the book that I've written as a tribute to Marcus Mosiah Garvey, then do get it. It is a free book. It's an ebook, and you can go to Gumroad and just search for Sista Shanice on Gumroad, and you'll be able to get a copy of this ebook, tribute book to Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So the festive season is coming up, Kwanzaa is coming up. Get a copy, send it to a loved one. it's a sort of book that if young people read it at the right time, it will give them a vision of what a true leader, a liberating leader looks like, and what being a leader is all about. And what we want to be doing is transforming the minds of our young people to be the leaders of tomorrow. So let's do the work. Let's get as many of our young people as possible to be reading about the great visionary Marcus Mosiah Garvey, so that we can influence their minds, influence their thinking, and so that, we can help to transform the minds of us, of the next generation, so that, we can be elevating ourselves and we can advance to another level, because we need leaders like Marcus Mosiah Garvey, do we not? Visionary leaders, leaders who are for their people and not for themselves, leaders who are able to identify what is good and what is in the interest of their people. So get a copy of that book, and it's free of charge, or you can leave a donation if you want. Just click on the book, go to checkout, you can put 0 and get it free of charge, or you can put some digits in there and send me a donation. It's entirely up to you. Okay, the first story that I want to talk about today really broke my heart. Many of you over the last few days or so, over the last strong, may well have heard the appeal about our sister Dawn Anderson. Her children were on the Jamaican radio stations calling up, raising awareness that their mother, Dawn Anderson, had gone missing. And the last they heard was from her husband, who said that he took her to Negril to do some business, and that she hadn't been, and when he went back for her, she wasn't there. They were very suspicious about that phone call. They hadn't heard from their mother, which was very unlike their mother. And let me just do a little quick read here of the story. So it was back on Monday that they started the search for Dawn Anderson, who was a 64-year-old British woman who went to Jamaica and went missing. And, in the early days, the family were really hopeful that she would be found safe and unharmed. But as the time went on, the family's hope of finding her alive began to dwindle. It's as if, a chill was running through them, and they were beginning to fear for the worst. And it was a couple of nights ago that their worst fears were realized when the authorities actually discovered what they believed at the time to be our sister's body that had been buried in a shallow grave near her home in Westmoreland. So she'd been missing since Monday, the 25th, and it was just the day after she'd arrived in Jamaica. She normally goes to Jamaica for a winter vacation, and her children were speaking with the Gleaner on Monday, hours before the discovery. And her daughter, Fiona Anderson, said that the family had a gut feeling that their mother was dead. Wow. And their gut feeling was right. It's as if she was sending them a message from the grave. So, this has had an impact on all of us and on me, because I'm the sort of person who travels, from the UK to get away from that awful wintry weather. And, I love Jamaica. Jamaica would have been my first choice, the first place where, I would have chosen to have gone for my winter vacations. But I'm just so aware of the violence, especially, the violence that's targeted at us women in Jamaica. It just makes it so unsafe. And I'm not saying that there are other places in the world that are not unsafe. Of course, even where I am, there's been a number of very concerning incidences where, women have been targeted, and it's resulted in the murder of at least 2 diasporans, one of whom, you know, was a woman, and a couple of suspicious deaths as well. So this happens everywhere in the world. And, you know, I don't know if it's, you know, because I'm a woman, why this case actually touched me so, so much. You know, right now, I just want to send my condolences out to the family of this beautiful queen, who obviously had a big, big heart, you know, for her people in Jamaica, and also a love for Africa as well. I mean, she just looks as though she was taking Africa to Jamaica. And, you know, I did the opposite. I took Jamaica to Africa, as much as I would have loved to have been in Jamaica. So may our queen, our sister, rest in eternal peace, and may her spirit continue to live on. And I know that she certainly won't be forgotten by her family and her loved ones, who were pouring their heart out in the hope that she would be found and found safe. So going back to the article, speaking with the Gleaner on Monday, hours before the discovery, her daughter, Fiona Anderson, said that the family had the gut feeling that the mother was dead. She noted the profound impact her disappearance had on the family, likening the experience to a horror movie. Wow. It's your worst nightmare. It's every family's worst nightmare. And she went on to say that this is the reality of Jamaica right now. It is not safe for women. Violence against women is an epidemic in this country. There is story after story of violence against women and then murder. And it's all senseless, she said. According to data from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, an average of 124 women have been murdered annually in the country between 2019 and 2023. Fiona explained that her mother, who was born in Jamaica but moved to the United Kingdom at the age of 7, has spent her first night in Montego Bay. She recalled Anderson being very excited and looking forward to heading to her home in Roaring River, Westmoreland the next day. However, Fiona's optimism quickly turned to concern when she received an urgent message from her mother's husband of 9 months, asking her to call him. When Fiona returned the call, Morrison told her that Anderson had gone missing in Negril after he had left her on a beach for hours. He claimed he had reported her disappearance to the Negril police and that a search party had been activated. Fiona was confused as her mother was very familiar with Negril, and it seemed unlikely. I'm now back. Okay, so I was reading the article there, and, you know, suspicion arose in the mind of her daughter, in Negril. You know, so anyway, he said that he'd reported the incident that she'd gone missing to the police. But, you know, when she checked, the report hadn't been filed. So that was another thing that raised suspicion and raised concern as well in the minds of their children. And, you know, they started to get worried from them. So let's see what's going on here. The host has... Be right back. Okay, so seems like I lost connection for a while. Hopefully I'm back. I'm not sure. I can see that the recording is still happening. And I'm not sure if I'm live. Yeah, I think I am live. Apologies about that. The recording just went. Let me know if you're hearing me. Let me know if I'm still with you. It says the host will be right back, but I'm here. I haven't gone anywhere. I'm good now. Oh, good. Thank you so much. And so, you know, I just want to tell all of our beautiful women out there to be careful. Be so careful. You know, when we travel, we're going to meet so many people who are just wonderful on the outside. Now, this young man must have charmed our beautiful sister, you know, so much so that she fell in love with him. And those of us who know the lyrics that Jamaican men can come with will know that, you know, they can sweep you off your feet. They can make you feel like you're a missing star in the sky, an angel from above. They've really got the lyrics, you know, to make you feel wonderful. And, you know, every woman wants to feel wonderful, especially when you're coming from a cold, heartless place like England, where, you know, they've instilled a standard of beauty that we just can't meet and we don't fit into. And so, you know, through the Tell Live vision, they're pushing the image of the European woman on us all the time. So much so that, you know, many of our men even, you know, prefer to go for European women. And, you know, as a result of that, many of us as African women end up being left on the shelf. But when we go to a country like Jamaica or a black country, and we meet, you know, our own African men, you know, they are more likely to see the beauty in their African women than the men in the diaspora are. And so, you know, women who have maybe been deprived of love or are looking for love, you know, when they go abroad, they can easily be swept off their feet. So, you know, we need to make sure that we are checking the credentials of people who want to come in our life. I don't know how true it is, but on one report that I was listening to about this case, it turns out that this man that she had married was actually a murderer, and that he had murdered before with his brother, and that he had a criminal record, and, you know, and an awful criminal record at that. But obviously she wasn't to know any of this. Maybe, you know, she'd only been married months. Maybe she didn't get to know his family and his friends, and there was no one in his circle who warned her about who he was. Because, you know, when you go to another place and you meet someone, you know, you haven't grown up with them, and so we don't know their background. We don't know, you know, the sort of lifestyle that they've been living. And so, you know, we believe everything that is being told to us. We think that they are not, and they're actually being deceitful. So as women, we it's saying that I need to, it's reconnected. So apologies for the interference with the internet tonight, family. Sincere apologies. And so, you know, we're talking of our beautiful queen who has gone on to the ancestors now, and the hunt is on for her ex-husband, who's obviously gone into hiding. So that says a lot, doesn't it? That speaks to me of his guilt. If he wasn't guilty, he would be helping and assisting the police with their inquiries. And I just don't understand, you know, what could have happened to have triggered something like this. Her daughters spoke to her. She was excited. She was happy. She was looking forward to go to her home. I mean, what does this man think? Does her husband then, you know, like make everybody, she just disappear, and he continued to live in her home, and you know, and he can just kill the goose that's laying the gold I'm not sure why I had the audio off there. Oh God. Not sure when the audio went off there, family. And sincere apologies. I seem to have some challenges with transmission tonight. Let's see if I can find the link back again. Yeah, they're trying to cut me off. The sound is going in and out as well. No sound at all now. Hopefully the sound has come back. I've just seen that the audio was off. My apologies for that. So what I was saying while it was off is that our sister Dawn was a devout Christian. Now, you know, back in the days, I was a devout Christian. And as a devout Christian, it means that, you know, you're celibate, you're in the church, you're waiting for God to send your husband, you know, you're waiting for the man who he's going to be the right person for you, that God's going to send for you, you know? And she was out there building this house, and this man who was a builder obviously charmed her, swept her off her feet, and she probably believed that this is the man that God has sent her. And they were going to church together for a little while. And of course, as a devout Christian, you have to get married. You know, you're not going to get in a relationship unless you're married. And so for her, it would have been sincere apologies for the spinning and the challenges with the internet. But we'll press on and see how far we can get, okay? So women, ladies, please be careful. Thoroughly check out the history of the man. If you don't know his background, you know, talk to his family, talk to his friends, talk to neighbors, talk to people who may know him, may know of him, and make sure that you find out as much as you can about the background of any individual that you might meet abroad before you start a relationship with them. Just imagine this man who she married had already previously been arrested on suspicion of murder, but got away with it. Wow, wow. You know, and you know, some people might say, oh, well, why did she marry him? You know, as a woman, I know that she would have been looking for love. She would have wanted to have been loved. She would have wanted to find somebody who she could spend the rest of her days with, the rest of her life with. You know, she would be wanting someone who could treat her good, you know? But unfortunately, it seems God sent her the devil himself. Wow. A very sad, a very tragic story. And our heart goes out to her family members. Our heart goes out to her friends. Our heart goes out to everyone that knows her. I don't know her, but her story really, really touched my heart. Thank you, family, for letting me know. Apologies for the situation with the Wi-Fi. It's freezing, but my voice is coming through. Okay, good. Kwame says, man, absolutely so devastating. Yeah, absolutely devastating. And Ujamma said, yes, he was telling her stories that she wanted to hear. And that's what they do. And they play us. They play on our heart. They play on our emotions. You know, as the woman, we are the nurturer. We are the carer. You know, we have an open heart and open arms. And sadly, that there are men out there who would take advantage of, you know, us women. But, you know, Kwame says, Sister Shanice, it's men like that that makes me look so bad. I know. There are good men out there, many good men out there. And we certainly do not intend to tarnish all of our men with the same brush, because we know that the vast majority of our men are caring, sharing, loving men. It's just the few out there that make it bad for all of our men and make it so difficult, you know, for people even like myself who would love to be able to return to Jamaica, to be fearful to go out there and live. And like I said, it doesn't mean that danger ain't going to find me wherever I am one of these days, but you know, some places the probability are much, much, much higher. Sister Afrijama says, I hope her daughters are in Jamaica now. They need to be out there to take care of business before that dirty family tries to take all her stuff. You know, it's so sad, so sad. It's a very sad case. So that was, you know, one of the stories that came to my attention over the course of the last few days. And I just wanted to share my thoughts and views on that. Please do share your thoughts and views, family, on that story as well. So there are a couple of other stories, few stories actually, that headlines that grabbed my attention. Let's bring up another one of the stories. Well, here we go, spinning again. My apologies. I can see that it's spinning. Right. I've been looking at Senegal recently as well. And, you know, a number of stories have been quite interesting. I was also looking at Kenya and I was looking at Mali. Let me do the Kenya one first. Now, Kenya has decided to approve an antiretroviral vaginal ring. What's that all about? Some of you might ask. Well, this was an article that was published. When was this article published? It says 3 hours ago, but not sure what was. 3 hours ago it was published. Sorry, it was updated 3 hours ago. Now, in the run-up to the World AIDS Day on the 1st of December, in Kenya, they're talking about battling against HIV/AIDS, and they're saying that it remains a pressing public health challenge, particularly for women. Now, there's so much that I could say about HIV/AIDS. So many reports have been written about it. We need to know the truth about HIV/AIDS. If I start talking about it now, they will take down this recording. So I can't go into it. But what I can say is that AIDS isn't something that we knew historically in Africa. And we have to be mindful that it may, well, so much I can say, but I can't even get round it, family. But it's enough to say that MAGA fully had it right. MAGA fully had it right with a lot of these outside influences coming in to Africa. And anyway, the Ministry of Health there has approximately 1.3 million Kenyan women, Kenyans, it says, living with the HIV. Wow, wow, wow. They have really done a good job on the Kenyans, it seems, with women making up the majority, over 880,000 cases. Wow. You see when you love Wazungu, you see when you love everything they bring, this is what happens. It says, for the sex worker from Dandora, Nairobi, HIV infection is a real concern. You know, you can't have one sex worker that infects, you know, 800,000 people or 1.3 million people. You know, they really take people for food. You know, how can you have a few sex workers that spread the disease to 1.3 million? You know, not gonna say, you know. Anyway, it's got to the point now where they're making up this huge story to justify introducing, let me scroll down and see if I can find it, introducing this vaginal ring. So it's saying that most of the women prefer the vaginal rings, depending on the side effects, and that come with oral PrEP, and also they will have to remember on a daily basis to swallow it and to take it. But this vaginal ring works locally within the vagina and is only effective in preventing HIV/AIDS during vaginal intercourse. Wow, the depopulation agenda is real, family, and our people are buying into it in Kenya, it seems. You know, if you're going to take that vaginal ring, you don't know what other internal damage it could be causing, what infections it could be causing. Look at the side effects, and, you know, nothing good don't come from outside. Yeah, how can our people be looking to take, you know, gifts or advice or enslaved us suddenly are in love with us and would want to bring anything good to us as a people. Wow, wow, wow. So that story gripped me, and apologies that I can't go into it in detail. I've had so many of my posts taken down, and it's always to do with these types of sure why it keeps going off, but it went off again. So yeah, if you're gonna allow, thank you for letting me know recording is in progress. In Senegal, there was an article that I came across in the Reuters on the 1st of December. It was saying that Senegal seeks answers 80 years after the French massacre of African soldiers. Never too late. This follows on nicely from the presentation that I did last strong, or the news report that I highlighted last strong, where we was talking about Malcolm X's family taking the NYPD, the CIA, the FBI, you know, where they were suing them for something like 100 million for the assassination of Malcolm X. So here we have reported in the Reuters that Senegal on Sunday were commemorating the 80th anniversary of a massacre of African soldiers who fought for France during World War II. And after fighting for France in World War II, what happened? They were gunned down by French troops in 1944 for demanding fair treatment and payment on their return. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Let me see if I can share screen so you can see the article for yourself. Let's bring up the article here. Share. Here we go. Senegal seeks answers 80 years after French massacre. You can see who's written the article there. You can see the date and the time of the article. Here we have it. You know, West African country has long demanded its former colonizer take responsibility, officially apologize, and properly investigate the massacre that took place in Thiaroye, a fishing village on the outskirts of Senegal's capital, Dakar. Wow, this is what you get. You fight for your oppressor in a world war, and then what do? They turn around and gun you down. This is what happened in 1944. They gunned down those African soldiers for demanding a fair treatment and for demanding the payment that they were due and they were owed. The event which renewed these demands comes as France is losing influence over its former African colonies. Well, yeah, of course they ought to be losing influence. The control, the level of control and influence that they had, you know, over their former colonies was, you know, shocking. And anyway, it says many of which have turned to Russia for security instead. The riflemen sacrificed everything. They gave their youth, they gave their blood, they gave their flesh for freedom and world peace. Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye told guests and reporters. Accounts of the massacre vary, as does the death toll, which French ex-president Francois Hollande raised to at least 70 from 35 during a visit to Thiaroye in 2014. Historians say hundreds may have died in the confrontation with colonial authorities. Imagine, they gunned down hundreds of soldiers who had fought for them. This is what they think, you know, of the sacrifice, you know, that these African soldiers were making. They had absolutely no respect for them whatsoever. They couldn't have done to turn around and deny them the money that they were owed and instead gun them down. Wow. The ceremony, which France's Foreign Affairs Minister attended alongside other African heads of state, started with a visit to the Thyori Military Cemetery to lay flowers. A printed guide to the cemetery described the horrific repression of members of the Senegalese infantry unit who were surrounded and gunned down for requesting due compensation. A few days before the commemoration, French President Emmanuel Macron wrote a public letter to his Senegalese counterpart, Faye, in which he referred to the killings as a massacre. Yes, it was a massacre indeed. Faye said Macron's acknowledgement was a significant step in the progress of rehabilitating the honor and dignity of victims. France's foreign minister, oh boy, sorry about these cuts. Let me stop sharing there. Not sure if it's taking up too much power. Why it stopped sharing. Okay, I think I'm back now. Apologies again. Faye said Macron's acknowledgement was a significant step in the process of rehabilitating the honor and dignity of victims. I don't, you know, I would be saying it's about time, you know, that they acknowledge the massacre. It's about time, you know, that they now, you know, compensated the country, the families, and the communities where these people actually came from, you know, because as a result of that massacre, not only did the families suffer the loss, the entire community and nation suffered a significant loss. And so I don't think Macron should be praised at all until he makes a step towards compensating, you know, the country for, and the families and the victims for that loss. And of course, they need a sincere apology. France's foreign minister, Jean-Noël Barrot, said in a speech his country had recognized that on that day, a chain of events was set in motion that led to the massacre. Gaspard Mbaye, head of an association dedicated to the soldiers' memory, told Reuters he was disappointed because he expected more from the French government. Exactly. They continue to conceal the truth and try to divert attention, Mbaye said. Now, he's talking. So this is the report that we have from Senegal in regards to the answers that they are seeking 80 years after the French massacre. 80 years! And the French still haven't apologized. 80 years! And they still haven't started working out, you know, compensation payments. 80 years! Yeah? And they're still saying, oh, a chain of events was set in motion that led to the massacre. Yeah, you're right, a chain of events. You know, they went and got arms, you know, and on the instruction of the general or whoever it was, they murdered in cold blood, you know, those soldiers who had risked their life to fight for their country, fight for France, their colonizers' country. So it just goes to show, you know, we can't do enough for some people, and that's the thanks we get. So that's a story there to do with Senegal. And then there was another couple of stories around Senegal. This one that caught my attention was to do with the leader saying that France should close all their army bases in the country, a move obviously that we would applaud. Senegalese President Bazouri Diomaye Faye on Thursday said that France should close all its army bases in the country, noting that it was incompatible with Senegal's national sovereignty. Faye swept to power in the March elections, and God talk a bit about the elections. And Senegal's president actually told the AFP on Thursday that France should close its military bases in the West African state as it prepared to mark the 80th anniversary of a notorious colonial slaughter. Quite right indeed, because, you know, if they can turn around and murder, you know, soldiers who had fought for them in the World War, what more could they do to the people, you know, who haven't fought for them? Are they not going to be thinking less of those citizens of the country? It's, you know, it's absolutely crazy to have foreign armed forces on your land, in your backyard. It's inconceivable for any Western nation to have any, foreign armies, African foreign armies on their land, on their territory. It just would be inconceivable, but it's something that we have tolerated. But it's good to see now that Africa is waking up and is telling France, Britain, the US, and anyone else who's got, these foreign bases in their country that is incompatible with their national sovereignty and that they now need to leave. Yeah. Story in the wrong direction concerning Senegal that I did come across and was concerned about. And this was the decision of Senegal not to recognize the Malian Nina cards. Now, the Malian Nina cards are a form of visa. It's a travel document. It's an ID card. And the Malians had been using this ID card to travel around the region and have been using it probably for decades. I don't know how long for, but it's, they've never needed a passport. They've never needed a ECOWAS card. They've never needed, a biometric card or anything like that. They just have their national IDs that's recognized by their government, and they can use that to travel to different countries freely, including Senegal. And then suddenly, Senegal decided that it was going to close its borders to the Malian Nina card holders, and they were not going to be allowed to travel into Senegal for a week. Now, this story didn't catch the headlines of the major newspapers, but there were, some tweets about it and some Facebook posts about it and LinkedIn posts about it. And in one tweet that I came across by the Sahel Revolutionary Soldier, it said that Pan-African Senegal has made an outrageous decision of banning Malian with AES Nina ID cards from entering its territory. Malians without biometric card or passport banned from entering Senegal. The Nina card is no longer recognized in Senegal for a week now. And, the fact that Senegal decided to reject the Nina card and not recognize the Nina card, I feel was a serious blow to the Malians, yeah, and an insult to the Malians as well. Would they turn around and say they're not going to recognize British passports? Would they turn around and say that they're not going to recognize American passports and insist that they put something else in place? I don't think they would, and the Nina card had been absolutely fine for the Malians to use, for donkey's years. And they turned around and said, well, now you're going to have to produce an ECOWAS Nina card or an ECOWAS passport, knowing that Mali is not part of ECOWAS. And because they're not part of ECOWAS, it wouldn't be possible for them to get their people to get an ECOWAS passport. And why should they have to? They are a sovereign country. And if as a sovereign country, they decide that what they want to issue is a Nina card to holders who want to travel, then, their good neighbors ought to recognize it. So here we have in another post here, the Senegalese state has refused to recognize the Nina map of Mali for a week. According to the Senegalese authorities, only the ECOWAS biometric card or the ECOWAS passports are valid. Any other Mali and Nina card are not recognized. Why would Senegal turn around and do this? I'm very suspicious of Senegal. On the one hand, they seem to be, doing and saying some of the right things. On the other hand, they're going against the principle of Pan-Africanism. They're going against the principle of a borderless Africa. They're having meetings with France. So it's very, very, it's like they're playing, a double-handed game here. And so if that wasn't bad enough now, and that was like last strong or so, that story came out. Now, a new story has come out. Actually, it's not new, and I hope they don't go ahead with it. But Mali, it says now, is thinking of launching a new passport, and it will be in partnership with Burkina Faso and Niger, which is great. But this new passport is going to be a biometric one. Let me see if I can find an up-to-date article on this, because I do have my concerns about these biometric passports, because, you know, they are a tool that can be used to monitor your citizens, to monitor, you know, every facet of your life, the money you've got in your account. You know, these biometric passports can link all your movements, what country you're in. It's linked to your bank accounts. It's linked to your workplace if you need to use it to go in and out of workplace. You know, it's a method of control. And I'm just really worried about any method that could potentially go in the wrong hands, that provides your enemies with a huge amount of information about your citizens and your population. Even if you are holding the information in your country, you know, that information can be hacked. And there are so many institutions and organizations who are operating not in the interest of Africans around the world, who would love to get access to your citizens' information. And I think these biometric cards is a way of doing that. So I really hope that, you know, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger do not go down the road of implementing biometric passports, because they are a danger, a data danger to your people. Data is like gold. In the new world information age, data is like gold to all of the different sectors and industries. Those biometric passports can provide a huge amount of information that should be personal information and secure information. It can easily be hacked, and it can be easily made available to all these different, you know, corporations and industries that want to be targeting our people for all the ills that they might have in their mind to send our way. So please be mindful and careful before you go about launching or introducing any biometric passports. Well, family, I think I've talked enough. Let me see if I can find the link and invite you to come and join me on stage. So I'm going to copy the link and post it in the chat. So if you're in the chat and you would like to join me here on stage, now is the opportunity for you to do so. Apologies about the poor internet connection, but I gather you can hear me, even if, you know, to some extent, you might not be able to see me when it freezes. So let's go over to the chat, see what's going on. I've posted the link. Get ready to join me. Kwame says, Mahama is even more dangerous than Akufu Adodo. Oh, who's Mahama? Please let me know. Sister Afrijamo says, we have ECOWAS privileges, but unfortunately, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are not part of ECOWAS anymore. Well, you know, I don't blame them for not being part of ECOWAS. Imagine ECOWAS was threatening to invade their country. ECOWAS was allowing themselves to be used by the Americans and the West, you know, to threaten Niger and Burkina Faso, because, you know, they took over their country. And, you know, they were trying to force them to put in the old stooges again, weren't they? So, you know, they were quite right to pull out. Let's see. Sheriff Fair says Kenya has given immunity. Yeah, oh yeah, we read that one. Thank you, my sis. Kwame Oboje says Baba Pombe Magafuli is our unapologetic soldier, mentor, and hero in our history. Absolutely. And for as long as we keep calling his name, he will never, never die. Our people only die when we stop calling their names. Ruto is a useless sellout, says Kwame. I'm sure we'd all agree with you on that. Sheriff says, then I give Dr. Shanice a warm time tonight, star. Oh, yeah, isn't it? You know, and I've actually paid for a higher grade internet here, and it's still not good enough. Or it's the lurgies that are playing out. Yeah, join me. The link's in the chat. You're welcome to join me. You don't have to come live on video if you don't want to. You can just do the audio. You know, if you're home in bed watching with your feet up and you don't want to come live, but you have something to say, you can come live and just talk, okay? Sister Ujamma says, let the dirty little subhuman biological mistakes take down your videos just as long as you download and save them. They can't stop us. Yeah, we've been downloading them, you know, but I do have over 400 videos and, you know, as fast as them take them down, but, you know, we're pushing on regardless. Okay, I have been joined by Oyeyemi. Welcome, welcome, Oyeyemi, and welcome, Bro Kwame. Oyeyemi, thank you so much for joining us. Let's put on my speaker. Welcome. Take yourself off mute. Welcome. Welcome, Oyeyemi. Take yourself off mute and greet the audience.
Hi, this is Sheriff.
Oyeyemi, are you going to speak to us? Welcome, welcome.
Sheriff, what's going on? You're right. Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm hearing you now. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, the Sheriff.
Sheriffess, welcome.
Oh,
Good to be able to put a face to the name. Oh, rise up.
Yeah. No, I thought I was gonna come on to talk about Trump because what
Yes.
the BRICS nation, he claims that he's gonna put tariffs on them, right? I don't think does this man really think that America is the only place that Africa has to trade with? They need Africa more than Africa needs them. So he's just gonna collapse the economy. I'm like, yo, I don't know what to say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, look how powerful the BRIC nations are as a bloc. You know, some of the most powerful nations in the world. And little old America, with their failing dollar, you know, want to try and control BRICS and impose tariffs on them. If BRICS was to do the same to them, they would cripple America.
This is what I'm saying. It's like that is stupid. Everything, literally, all those companies, right? That the tech companies in California. Listen, America is done. America's finished. And you see that from Britain, they're done so. Yeah, right. Did you see the petition that they had for the Kickstarter?
The vision that they had for who?
The Kickstarter. Starmer.
Oh, Starmer.
Starmer, because if you have more than 2 kids, they can't get child benefit, apparently.
I'm not hearing you very clearly, you know. There's a lot of echoing in the background. Sorry, my sis. Say that again.
I'm saying, if you've got more than 2 children of school age, you can't get no child benefit, you can't get child benefit to children.
If you've got how many children, what they're talking about benefits?
2 children.
Yeah.
that, you could have six dogs there with you, and now you know anything. You know, child benefit, one parent benefit, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but the point in there then.
Oh, I think it's pretty shame and I come out here right now. Let me try and get closer to the white line.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically what I'm saying is if you've got more than you can hear me now.
Yeah, okay. Much clearer.
Okay, if you've got more than 2 children, right? Oh, in this country in England, you get one parent benefit or child benefit regardless. You got more than 2 children, you only get paid for the 2. The rest of them, if you got 6 or 7 down dead with them, the government ain't giving them nothing, right?
Wow.
Remember, before, if you had a child and you wanted to educate the child at home, they gave you income support until the child was about 15, 16. Now, until the child is about 3 or 5, you've got to go out to work so they can get to program your child's brain.
You know what, Sheriff? You know what I think this is about? The other day, there was a Lord in the House of Lords who was talking about the growth of the Asian community and how, you know, by about 2050 or something, they would be the majority population in Britain because they were having large families. Yeah, so they've probably looked at it and decided, okay, they're having large families, living off of social. We're going to put a cap on it now to limit the number of, you know, to discourage them from having so many children, because their European tend to have 2 children anyway, don't they? So it's not going to affect them. I think it's to try and cut back on the Asian population. What do you think of that?
Listen, as you said that, right? You know the farmers' strike the other day? The farmers' strike that they had. All the farmers came down because of the inheritance tax. Oh, right. Okay. There's a program called Nevada Media. Yeah? An Indian girl, I think her name is Ashaka or something like that, right? But she went to ask the farmers how they feel about this inheritance tax. I wanted them to know, I'm speaking to you, you breed like rabbits.
Oh, wow. Oh,
listen,
wow.
And they got money because it's money people don't want to pay the taxes that they expect us to pay. They got no one to tell you, we don't want your own here, we don't want to make our own here. And she's Asian. I remember that. Wow. Man, I was having the Kujichagulia next to him. You must remember programs like It Ain't Half Hot Mum and all of that, and how the Indian them used to try and emulate the white man. Don't you remember them shows? It Ain't Half Hot Mum. And you had the Indian them, and there was one in particular, it was a white man, black top, as an Asian man. And he was the white man's best friend. The Indian man is the white man's best friend, especially the Indian, the Pakistani or the Bangladeshi and them. But you see, the Indian one that can remember, they don't broke up the place, you know, split it up like how they split up Africa. You know what I mean? So, you know what? I could talk to you all night. Let me let somebody else come on.
Oh, my sis, it's beautiful that you've come on. I just regret that I couldn't, you know, it's not coming through as clearly as I would love it to, because, you know, I just wanted to ride with your energy, but because of the internet connections. But thank you so much. Let's hope we get a better connection next time. We're going to do this again. Okay, my sweet sis? Hey, well, lovely to meet you. I'm honored. Take care, sis. One love. We've got Brother Kwame who's joined us. Brother Kwame, are you coming on audio or video?
How can you video, sis? How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I've got 2 Kwames here. Are you on twice, or are there 2 different Kwames in the house?
It's just me.
There's 2 different Kwames.
Oh, there's 2 Kwames. Okay, yeah, I've got Kwame Aboji and I've got Kwame Ossi. So Kwame Aboji, go ahead first, and then we'll go to Kwame Ossi, because I heard Kwame Aboji.
Sis, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Great to have you.
Good. I'm glad that you're still on the air, Ben. We know that these demons are trying to pass off, but they will not succeed anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, Shay. I mean, excellent debate you have, my sis. I mean, I want to pick up what you did earlier because we know that white supremacy cannot leave us alone. White supremacy is known to manipulate African people to turn against themselves. Yeah, we know their game very, very well, and it's you got to thank. I mean, both the late Mama Frances Cress Welsing and Baba Nelly Fuller, who warned us that if you don't know about white supremacy, what it is and what it's about, or you think you know, will only mislead you. And white supremacy, we know it's everywhere in their
I love
media.
their works. I love their works, Prof Kwame, but
Yeah.
I just can't go with that narrative calling it white supremacy because to me words are important and they're not more supreme. They're not more
Oh,
supreme.
well, I'm glad you said it back, my sis. Yeah, I'm
Terribly.
very glad. I mean, I'm not going to even use that word. Let's say Europeans. Because they
Yeah.
want to be heard in everywhere, Sister Shanice. Like I said, in their media, in their politics, in their education, in their law, in their this and that. Yeah, they want power to divide and rule against non-Europeans. But unfortunately, our people, I love it so much, but most of us are lost. Because if you take, for instance, in our homes, there's a picture of a European Jesus. How do you know that? And we think it's real. Not knowing that it's the European that's confused us.
I've lost you.
Hello?
It's my internet connection.
Oh, dear.
Carry on.
Carry
on, Kwame. Sorry, I lost for a moment. Yeah, carry on, please.
Yeah,
that picture on the wall.
Yeah, as I was saying, Sister Shanice, they put the European Jesus, they put on to confuse us. Yeah. I mean, what with us? Yeah, we need to know that we have I spoke to my colleague Sister Anna just now. Yeah, that we have our own heroes and sheroes, like your Garveys, your Malcolms, your Nkrumahs, and your who else? Magufuli.
Yes.
And we need these are heroes. We don't want the so-called European Jesus. Before we were spiritual people until when they came into our motherland and ripped everything that we had.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, some of us are so misguided. Like I'm saying about our people in Ghana, calling it a brony. How can you? What's so special about them? You tell me. Apart from when they came into Africa and colonized us, is there something to get excited about?
Not at all. You know, there was a quote somewhere. I don't know if I can here. I found it. Right. There's a British historian by the name of Godfrey Higgins, and he said that we have found, this is in ancient times, he's a historian, and he said that we have found the black complexion or something relating to it whenever we have approached the origin of nations, the alma mater, the goddess multimamina, the founders of oracles, the memoir of first idols were always black. Venus, Jupiter, Apollo, Bacchus, Hercules, Astaroth, Adonis, Horus, Osiris, and Amun. He said, in short, all the deities were black. They remained as they were first in very ancient times. What does that mean? That means that, you know, we were the original people, and back then, all the deities that we created were black. The Buddhas, the Krishnas, you know, the early Christians, all were black. But what's happened in modern times is that these people have taken, you know, these religious these systems and have whitewashed it and have given us back our own, you know, religious belief systems and put themselves and their image in its place. Painted the black Madonna white, painted the black
bingo,
woman
Shanice, bingo.
White, you know, painted the angels white and said the devil is black. You know, this is what they've done.
Bingo, you're right.
You know, now worshipping an image that looks like our oppressor. And subliminally in our subconscious, what is that doing? If we're bowing down and worshipping an image that looks like our oppressor, you know,
We're disrespecting ourselves, Shanice. We're disrespecting ourselves. We're worshiping our oppressor. You know that. And I know that. How can you worship someone who rapes
Yeah,
you,
we're giving away all
who
our
robs you, who
power to
brainwashes
them.
you?
We're revering them, you know, and denigrating ourselves. All
Absolutely.
other races, they worship, you know, idols, if it's idols, or they have their mythical gods, but they look like them.
I love our parents as well, Shanice, but some of them don't even understand. They accuse, when say I love Malcolm X and I adore him, they say I'm here, so I'm the hero
So, you
worshiping.
know,
So
we
what
need
if
to
I
wake
do?
up as a
So what if I have to worship Malcolm X? I love Malcolm X. He's my hero. Why should I worship someone who doesn't look like me? That doesn't make sense. Anyway, Sister Shanice, I'll let my colleague Brother Kwame say, go on. Nice talking to you. Take care of yourself.
lovely
Thanks for everything.
you too, Brother Kwame, and thank you as always for joining us here on the big, I was going to say the big G. I'm not on Galaxy right now, but joining me on the Sista Shanice show live and direct. We have Kwame Ossie. Rise up, Brother Kwame. How you doing?
I'm Blacktastic. How are you?
Oh, I'm also Blacktastic. I love it. Thanks for joining us. Yes, please share your thoughts and views on any of the stories that I've highlighted today, or a story that you feel I should have highlighted that didn't, that you want to talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things. So, you know, this election in Namibia that they voted a woman, you know, is fine, but we need to know what their agenda, what her agenda is, because many of the listeners do not appreciate and understand that Namibia is occupied territory, in that the population is about 2.5 million or less than that. And that's because sorry?
Yeah, it's a very small population. Yeah.
And that's because of the legacy of the genocide, the first genocide of the 20th century, where these wicked white or Caucasian terrorists, German terrorists, tried to slaughter en masse, but tried to exterminate our Herero and Nama cousins. And so this is why in Namibia today, the population is very, very small, because of the legacy of that genocide. And also that 70% of the best land in Namibia is in the hand of these European terrorists.
What percentage? Let's hear that.
Sorry?
What percentage?
70.
70% of the prime land in Namibia is in the hands of Caucasians and not Africans. Imagine. So they committed that genocide, wiped out a significant proportion of the population, and have taken over their land. And, you know, some of us might think that Africa belongs to the Africans, but we know that Namibia is not unique in this kind of paradoxical situation.
So we hope that the new Prime Minister, the female, is going to address this issue, because there's no point being elected when the majority of you people are landless and homeless. Because that's what, when you take people's land, this is what it is. It is landless and stateless in your home country. And this is why there's high youth unemployment in Namibia. Because if you haven't got the land, you eat off the land, you live off the land. So the majority of the people in Namibia haven't got their land, and a small minority of Europeans, devils, have got the land that their ancestors stole by genocide and murder, then how is the indigenous population going to rise? So for me, the new president, she has to really, you know,
is it in her manifesto? Do you know if it's in her manifesto?
Well, from what I've heard, it's not. It wasn't even in the manifesto. So, like, so this is precisely it. So, yes, you've won, fine, and you're a female president, fine, the first in Namibia's history. But also, she's of the party of the revolutionary Samuel Ujamma. He was the founding father of Namibia, and his party was the Southwest African People's Organization, SWAPO, and they were the ones who defeated white terrorism in Namibia. And his mission was to get the land back But unfortunately, you know, that mission was not successful. And so since Namibia became so-called independent in 1990, the land issue has been like a very, very thorny issue in that country. And that needs to be just because, again, what many of our brothers and sisters do not appreciate love is that the whole southern East Africa, so Zimbabwe, to a degree, Zambia, South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, Angola, right? Even parts of Kenya are all under occupation. What I mean by that is that it is not indigenous African people that run those lands. Those lands are owned and controlled by European terrorists, not settlers, terrorists. And yet we sit here, we don't write to the embassies in London, we don't pick it at the South Africa House, we don't pick it at Namibia House, we don't pick it at Zimbabwe House. You know, we allow this happen in the diaspora. We have more power than we think that we have. It would be, they will feel embarrassed if some of us picketed outside Zambia House every week, or picketed outside, you know, Namibia House in London. All these embassies I'm talking about are in London, central London. You know, not far from where brothers and sisters live in London. So we could be doing more, should be doing more to highlight the point that we're not free. And this is why I keep saying to people, we are not free. We are still an enslaved people under Ma'angamizi, which is the genocide and the elimination and eradication of African people is alive and kicking. And we seem oblivious to it. So for me, I don't have any hope for this new president of Namibia unless she addresses the land issue. Because if you don't address land issue like this, it's useless. So that's that one out of the way. You know, in Ghana, somebody mentioned about Ghana. You know,
before you move on, just want to quickly comment to say, Brother Kwame, I absolutely agree with you in terms of the importance of land. As Africans, we cannot underestimate the importance of land. You know, in Britain, you know, where I live, you know, if you have a house, the likelihood is that you only own the house for 99 years. It's a leasehold that you have on the land, because they understand the importance of land and maintaining ownership of the land. It's not in their land, for heaven's sake. You know, they're not the indigenous people, but they've claimed that land as their own, and they intend to keep hold of it. Do you think we Africans can go and say that we want to own the whole of Birmingham and the whole of Nottingham and the whole of London? You must be joking. So why are we as Africans allowing Europeans to go to Africa and own such large swathes of land, the prime land as well, forcing our people to have to live, you know, on the unproductive pieces of land, the barren pieces of land that they can't even farm, where they can't even use raw materials to build their houses and or do some animal husbandry or anything else like that. You know, why are we allowing this in the 21st century? I think, you know, you're right to raise this as an issue, Brother Kwame. We need to raise awareness of the extent to which Africa is still in the hands of foreign owners, you know, and the importance for Africans to take back their land. And for those Africans who do own their land, they need to recognize the importance of holding on to their land. You know, this is a battle and a war for land. This is why, you know, even right now, the Palestinians are being pelted by the Israeli bombs because they want to take over their land. It's all about land. The war is for the takeover of the African land. And this is what's been going on for the last 6,000 years. And now these people have not only taken over all of the land where we were the indigenous people around the world, but they're right now into our homeland. They're right where we started from in Africa, and they've got roots in Africa. And it's time we cut down those roots and wake up and realize what needs to happen before, you know, they totally consume us, in our own backyard without us realizing what's going on. Thank you for highlighting this, Brother Kwame. Please continue.
And let's not forget, the North has gone already. What is
Yes.
called Egypt, Morocco, Libya, Algeria, and Tunisia is gone. And our people that live there, the people, right, that live there, have suffered from, the vile anti-African racism from these Caucasian Arabs. So, that should ring the alarm bells to us that this thing is deep, and that they're after African land. So they've got the North, they've got virtually the South and East, and now they want to get the rest of it.
Yes.
And when we see what's happening in DR Congo again is for the land and the resource of DR Congo. And that war will never stop. If we Africans don't stop it, that war will never stop. Trump said he can stop a war in one day. He ain't going to stop Congo, because his backers, who are Jewish in the main, this is why he supports Israel, because when he was broke, it was those Jews, particularly Zionist ones, who bankrolled him and who bailed him out. So he's indebted to the Jews for his survival, Trump. That's why he's very, very pro-Israel. And we know a lot of them, or some of the big guns, big Israelis, they own some of the mines in DR Congo. Yeah? They're not gonna, that war is not gonna come to an end unless we Africans rise up. We pick it outside the Congo embassy. We pick it outside the US embassy and make them known that this war is a same nation, us. Right? People that look at you and I, Mr. are being slaughtered even as your program is going on. People that look at you and I are being slaughtered in the 1.5 hours or 1.5 hours that your show's been going. And we're sitting here doing nothing about it. We're not writing letters to our MP. We're not writing letters to our councillor. We're not writing letters globally to our politicians. To even the AU consulate in London. Because the AU should send troops there. If we can't count the United Nations, they don't care. We can't count in the EU, they don't care. We don't count on NATO, we don't care. Only we Africans can finish that war in DR Congo. But it seems to me that the political will and the conscientizement of our political elite is not there to actually end that war, because if we were, that war could end in the next 5 years. So, DR Congo, unfortunately, will never ever see peace. And unfortunately, a lot of our innocent women and children are going to die in that war. Over 10 million African women and children have died in that war. 7.5 million African women and children, predominantly women and children, have been displaced from their land. I talked about landless, stateless. DR Congo, 7.5 million Africans have been displaced from their land in DR Congo. And to you sisters and brothers that own that one iPhone for Black Friday, one iPhone for Christmas, one to iPad, our consumerism, our rampant consumerism is what is fueling the murder, the genocide of our sisters and brothers in DR Congo. So we'll leave that one for now. So somebody mentioned Ghana. We have elections on Saturday in Ghana. And the ruling party, which is the NPP of Akufo-Addo, is going against NDC. Even one of these two are going to win. Because Ghanaians, sorry to say, they're not politically astute for a third party. So there are many, many third parties around who are contesting the elections. But we know it's either going to be Akufo-Addo's NPP or Mohammed's NDC. So Akufo-Addo is stepping down after 2 terms. He's done his 8 years. So he's put his vice president as candidate. And for me, a vote for Alhaji Bawumia, who is the vice president of Akufo, he's been vice president of Akufo-Addo for the last 8 years, who is now the flag bearer of the NPP. For me, if you vote for him, that's the 3rd term of Akufo-Addo. Because I got wind of the document, and most Ghanaians know this document to be true. It's called the Ujamma document. And in that document, it tells how Akufo-Addo is going to state capture key Ghanaian institutes like the banks, like the gold reserves, like the judiciary, like the media. How he's going to capture them and make them bow to him. And he's already done that because in the last 4 years, a lot of banks were collapsed in Ghana. And $7 billion of taxpayers' money was used for that so-called banking exercise. Yeah. Added to that, Ghana has gone on a domestic debt program because Ghana has accumulated huge debt under Akufo-Addo. And because Ghana's got to pay huge debt back, a lot of people's pensions, a lot of people's savings, a lot of people's investments have been used by this government to pay back the investments, to pay back the debt that they've amassed. And so if this man wins, about Bawumia wins, you're going to get Akufo-Addo Part 3 because he was handpicked by Akufo-Addo to be the running mate of the NPP for this election. And so he would just pursue the policies that Akufo-Addo has done for the last 8 years. Mahama, on the other hand, is more of a social democrat. However, I don't trust him either. So what we need in Ghana, we need a new party that is not NPP, not NDC. But like I said, because Ghanaians are not that smart when it comes to political choices, one of these two will be elected. And we're going to have the same rubbish for the next 4 years, the same manipulation, the same theft, the same state capture, the same corruption, the same, collapse of our economy, the same collapse of our currency. So I don't see no future in Ghana unless we get a new start. And this is why many Ghanaians, over the last 2 years alone, more than 50,000 Ghanaians have left Ghana. The last 2 years alone. Doctors, nurses, teachers, young people in the 35 have left Ghana. I see them in Nottingham. A lot of them come to Nottingham. A lot of them in Nottingham. A lot of them, I see them on the bus speaking Tree, Ghana. And I said, hey, you're from Ghana? I said, yeah. I said, why do you leave Ghana? I was saying that the economy is that bad that a lot of people can't survive. A lot of people can't even afford 3 square meals in Ghana. So that's compelled people to leave Ghana and find a better life in this country. So the election for me is going to be, neither here or there, because we know who's going to win, either NPP or NDC, and nothing will much change in Ghana, as far as I'm concerned.
You see, this is where they've got us, tied up in this so-called democratic system that doesn't work for us, doesn't work for Africans. Democracy does not work for Africans. This two-party system is two sides of the same coin, and the status quo prevails. The rich get richer, the corporations exploit all of the minerals and resources, while the people suffer.
Yep.
This demonocracy system does not work for us as Africans. The sooner we wake up and realize that, and we introduce an alternative system, that does and can work for Africans, the better off we will be. We need something like proportional representation, where all sections of society is represented and the resources are shared equally among those different representatives based on the size of the populations that they're serving. We need a totally different system for Africa. Until then, I think we're going to continue to be manipulated by the external forces and powers that be that are controlling this demonic system that we are part of. Thank you, Brother Kwame. Please continue. We've got 5 minutes, so let me give you 2 or 3 of the 5 minutes. Do you have another topic that you wanted to raise?
Yeah, I think it's been a good year for the progressive African forces, Mali, Burkina, especially, and Niger. Despite, the protests from, ECOWAS, and it's a good thing that they left ECOWAS and from the AES, because ECOWAS is not really the body that it was. It's basically being corrupted by neo-colonialists who basically are doing the bidding of the European terrorists. So, the European terrorists wanted ECOWAS to go into Niger and wage war, so-called black on black violence. But the public, particularly in what is called Nigeria, said no, we will not let our people go and fight and kill our kith and king. And, you know, Tinubu of Nigeria wanted to go in there, but the parliament, you know, blocked him. And that was a good thing that they did because, you know, the last thing that we need in West Africa is another bloodbath. And so for me, you know, we see a lot of developments, you know, in particularly in, you know, Burkina, when Ibrahim Traore has invested a lot in agriculture, and that is the foundation of any progressive African economy, the ability to feed your own people, yeah, and to provide land where people can grow food. Unlike countries like Ghana and Nigeria, that imports $10 billion worth of rice each year, both countries combined, 10 billion. Just imagine if that 10 billion was put in Ghana and Nigeria farmers, how better off would be in terms of food. So for me, it's been, you know, even though you got the negative forces in Ghana and South Africa and Kenya, you know, we see the progress in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, and that will continue despite the efforts of the West, particularly France, to actually kill Traore and kill the others in Mali and Niger. That's not going to happen. And Senegal, like you said, I think Senegal, they're playing a dangerous game. I don't trust Diambe. I trust Sanko. Sanko is the prime minister, but there may be a rift between the two of them, which is why we're seeing them miss the conflicting messages coming out of Senegal. But as time goes on, probably next year, I do believe that, you know, something will have to happen to decide which way that Senegal is going to go, because Senegal will need to change its mind as to where it needs to go, and the people will get agitated if they see Senegal going the wrong way.
Rise up, Brother Kwame. Thank you so much for jumping on board and for joining me on the platform. I'll do an open session again next strong. I'll do some news and reviews, bring some stories, and you are welcome to come and share some stories, as you all are in the chat. I want to also thank Sister Shanice. What a beautiful surprise having her come live. It's such a shame that there was some challenges with the audio there. I've been having challenges all evening, but you're coming through loud and clear, Brother Kwame, so which is really great. Dora Bell is in the house as well. Good to have you in the house alongside Betty. Great to have you in the house. Sister Sheriffess, you know, rise up yourself every time. Blue Zodiac, good to have you in the house. Lumpwa, good to have you in the house as well. The choice of Ghana, Senegal, Namibia is the democratic choice, says Lumpwa. And the democratic choice is 2 Pepsi Cola or is over 2 Pepsi Cola or Cola. In it, 2 sides of the same coin. Tendai Mwari, Black Hatchie, Blue Zodiac family. I want to thank you all so much for joining me this evening on the Sister Shanice show. We were looking at some news stories and some headlines, and we're going to do the same next strong. And that's only because I've just been so busy. I haven't had time to sort out getting any speakers. But if you can help me and get me some speakers and line up some speakers for me, it will be most welcome. Otherwise, you know, it's headline news that we're going to be dealing with. Thank you so much for bearing with me throughout the challenges that we've had this evening with the internet. I certainly hope it gets better as time goes by. So thank you once again, each and every one of you, for joining me in the audience, for your comments, your views and your opinions. And please come back next Wednesday, same time, here on, I was going to say Galaxy FPV, here on the Sister Shanice Show live on YouTube. Thank you so much. Bye for now, family.